Chapter 2. The Stranger. As the Lord, with the four, were passing Enoch, he said to him, Enoch, prepare them all, and then lead them to me into the hut. The women, however, shall come only to the doorstep, but not enter the hut while I am there, except for Eve and these here, whom I myself will lead into the hut. Amen. Then the Lord entered the hut with his 4 beloved daughters. And until the whole company entered, he entertained them with all kinds of revelations of divine grace, showing them his great ways for bringing life to his children and all other beings. He revealed to them clearly man's great destiny, but also the possible evil intervention of Satan. That is what the Lord did in the hut. But what happened to Enoch outside? First, Horeb and Lamech approached him and asked, Father Enoch, don't you want to tell us who is the man who quite cheerfully went into the hut just now, against the rule given by the Lord, all alone with the 4 females, namely our wives and Purista and the beautiful Pura? There must be something extraordinary concerning this man. And since he treats you like an old acquaintance, you must surely know him. If the transfiguration of Sihel was not an illusion before our eyes, he certainly belongs to a higher world, and therefore it would be very desirable to learn more about him. We speculate that it could be the Lord himself, but it does not correspond with Purista's announcement, to whom the Lord had revealed that when all of us would be gathered in the hut waiting for him in the deepest calm of our hearts, he would come to us visibly and then tell us all about what was happening in the lowlands. But this man did not come according to the revelation, but quite freely. While we were preparing ourselves in the hut for the arrival of the Lord, he created a somewhat annoying spectacle outside. And for his obvious pleasure, he has chosen the 4 most beautiful women. Those 4 are, of course, the purest female stars at present on the heights, and, strangely enough, we cannot be angry, although they are deeply in love with the man. Yet this still does not mean that it is the Lord, for the Lord is faithful in his promises, so he cannot possibly appear in a different way from what he had Purista announced to us. Therefore tell us, dear Father Enoch, who is this man and from where is he? Thus the others too stepped up to Enoch and asked him the same. But Adam had another opinion, and he said with a very serious expression, Enoch, the man looks a little suspicious to me, because the spectacle with the otherwise chaste and pure women does not seem right to me. The destruction or complete annihilation of Seth's son, that can be regarded in various ways. For in order to test us, the Lord could very easily have allowed the adversary to do such a thing for a while. You seem to know the man, but this is not enough to convince me, since I do not know him yet. I have been burned many times before, and therefore have become very shy of the fire of similar occurrences. Therefore, tell us more about the man, and see that we get into the hut. Otherwise the Lord's appearance will be delayed for quite some time." But as already said, this man can't be the Lord, just as little as it could be one of us. Because if it would be him, Purista would be as good as deceived. You've got to realize this just as we do. That the four are holding on to this man does not prove much, because the women are frivolous and altogether blind, and if one has prayed for a decade and a strong temptation may come over her in the 11th year, she will throw herself fully into the arms of the seducer, because also the woman is free, and she can do what she wants. Thus, start talking about what you know, but make it brief, so that we can get into the hut soon to await the Lord there, and thereby make it impossible for the man to do with the 4 young divas as he pleases. In general, we must not be so lukewarm in divine things, otherwise the world will not exist beyond 1,000 years, as it has already existed now through my always inspired zeal for God. Only now was Enoch able to put in a word, and said, "Hear, all of you, my dear fathers, brothers and children. You have kept your tongues and the thoughts of your souls very active, but your hearts have remained completely inactive. It seems that all of you have completely forgotten my Sabbath speech from the Lord. If you do not understand the Lord's promise to Purista, what is the hut of Purista, in which we should await the Lord at all times? Listen. Our heart is the hut of Purista, and the fire within it is our living love for God. Who of you has until now gone into this hut, and who has welcomed his brothers into this hut, and wanted to be the last and least among them? No woman except Eve and Purista should enter the hut. This means that when we love God and are at peace in our hearts, we ought not to think of women and dim the love to God with the love for women, except for the love between mother and child, which does not cloud the love for God, but only provides a yardstick as to how to love God. Do you understand this? Sure, we were in the hut of Purista with our bodies, but our hearts were with the women, and wondered, why are not all women allowed to enter the hut? No wonder, then, that the women caused such spectacle, and in the end even drove us out of the hut. Do you understand this? Since the Lord is endlessly more merciful and faithful than we are, he nevertheless came to us according to his promise. But he came to us in accordance to the state of our hearts. He therefore also came to the women and engaged them, since we were not present in our hut of Purista. Do you understand this? The 4 pure lovers of the Lord, greatly shaming us, did in fact awaited him in Purista's true and living hut. Therefore he also came to them first, and while we let our tongues run away with us, They are already blissfully enjoying the outflow of His grace, mercy, and love. Do you understand these things? You still don't know anything of the lowlands, but the four, for quite some time already, are allowed to view most lucidly the most wonderful ways and guidance of the Lord. Do you understand this? You still ask and say, "Who is this man?" But the four pure girls are already in His arms, feeling great delight at the holy, most loving Father. Do you understand this? But I do not say to you that the man is the Father. However, go to him in your hearts, and you will recognize who the man is. Do you understand this? Yes, now you must understand it, if you are not blind as the center of the earth. I have finished speaking. Act accordingly to my words, and recognize your great blindness in the name of the Lord. Amen. Only now they all understood, and beating their chest, they recognized what time it was.